just so you know, it'll be the same plate when you come talk to us later. That's fine. U.S. citizen, former fucking veteran. You want to come at us? You want to come at us? I say go get yourself some lunch, big boy. Go ahead.
Out of the car. Get out of the fucking car. Get out of the car.
Whoa!
Ooh. Yeah. Yikes. Ooh, that was a tough one to watch. Whoa, boy. Oh, boy. Wow, that was something else. Hey, what's going on, ladies and gents? Welcome back. It's Friday night, and it's live. We're live on the channel. Hey, chat, why don't you come on in here? Yeah, get on in. How are we doing, folks? We're going to get into a lot of that stuff, but let's get into what everybody's saying in the chat. Howdy, folks. Get Frank Vaughn on the show. I've called Frank a couple of times. I haven't had him respond to me. I think he's offline or he's off grid. Yeah, he's welcome on the show anytime he wants to come on. I'd be happy to have him. Clyde, Snap, Crackle, and Pop. That's exactly what went down in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And we're going to get into this. We're going to get into a bunch of this stuff. Frank on a roll. Is he on a roll? I'd love to see what he's doing. I watched a bit early in the week. I haven't seen what exactly he's saying. I'm pretty sure he's probably talking about this subject in particular. That's the thing. Hope the dog is okay. What dog? What dog are you talking about? I'm not sure what dog you're talking about. Yeah. Guest calls? Yeah. We have them occasionally from time to time. What was it last week? Last week I did the live show here, and then right afterwards there was a big breaking news that Venezuela, there was an attack in Venezuela. And we didn't know what was happening at the time, so I went live right after. So I did a second live on the Friday night, and that was crazy. I did have a call in from Rudy. Rudy, as you know, or maybe you don't know, is a friend of mine, and he's a YouTuber, and he lives in Canada, but he's from Venezuela, and he's been covering all this stuff as it has been unfolding. So, yeah, if we get more info on all that stuff, I'd love to have Rudy on the show again. I've had him on the show several times, but I had him call in last Friday night to fill us in on what was exactly going on, because there was a lot of information that was coming out, but not in English. It was predominantly Spanish news coming in at that time. So yeah, that's the thing. Ashley Babbitt, that's the woman who was shot on Jan 6th, was it not? The Trump FAFO doctrine. Well, I think it's just the FAFO doctrine in general. I would say if. It's not that hard to avoid getting shot by police. Let's just be honest. It really isn't that hard. You just don't have to, just don't put yourself in a position to be shot by police at the end of the day. We're going to get into some of the steps in this live stream on how you can avoid getting shot by the police, or at least having a confrontation with the police. That is actually quite easy to do. It's quite easy to do, but apparently it's very difficult for liberal white women and boat captains. Apparently the sovereign citizens have a really hard time not getting tased or shot, or having their windows broken, or being hauled out of cars to go to jail. I don't know. It's a genetic anomaly that some people have to deal with, apparently. I kid. Of course, stupidity isn't always hereditary. Some people just induce stupidity, and you can do that by I don't know, watching too much CNN. Apparently that's how it's done. Absolutely. G-Meister popping in the chat up in the corner there. He's popping the Discord server link, so if you're interested in coming over and having a chat with us afterwards, every Friday night we do a little bit of a chat after. I'll be able to stick around for a very little bit tonight, because I got a jam session with a bunch of other dads in my local borough. We're going to meet up, and we're going to play some guitars and all of that stuff. So we're going to get together for that, and that's going to be a lot of fun. So come into the Discord. Click that link above there if you're interested. If you don't know what Discord is another social media platform, but it's a place where you can have voice and video chats with other people, and it's like similar to Skype or whatever, but you just jump in when you feel like, if you see that other people in that chat room, and awesome conversations go down at that time. You don't need to pay anything or do anything like that. You just jump in, click on the link, and it's free for everyone to hear. Clyde, can we hear? Are you not hearing me? Is there something wrong with the audio? I'm not sure. What are you getting at here? Play Freebird, Clyde. So I can't exactly do that on the live streams. I can get away with it in short spurts on the short videos. That's just it's just one of those things that Google and YouTube will allow. Audio's fine. Thank you so much for filling me in on that. That confused me. Loretta, what are you doing? You're tripping me up here. No, I want to hear you play. Oh, yeah, no, not tonight. That's not going to happen. I've done that. I did that once because I don't know how long you've been around, Loretta, but when I first started the channel and first started reporting on the news, I had a different place, and I had a studio with an actual piano behind me. That was the look in the studio, and yeah, I did a couple of times go play a tune for everybody, but that was a thing. Play Freebird at your jam, I meant. Oh, okay, I gotcha. No, it was just one of the videos recently. I played a bit of there's been a bit of music in some of those some of the shorts, music that I can use on the shorts, but I cannot use on live streams or videos or any of that stuff. Playing Discord, says G. Maybe. It's all packed away. It's all ready to go. It's all ready to go to my buddy's house. And that's the thing. A saloon tune. Yeah, that's what I played. I played some ragtime or something like that for everybody one evening. And it's fun. I like it. I really, really enjoy playing music. But for me, music's one of those things, like, I'm not a performer. I do the speeches. I do the news. I do all that stuff. I just play music for fun. It's just relaxing and tranquil and all of that. Kind of just runs in the family. A lot of my family members have played music. I've played music my whole life. So it's one of those things. Trish Brew with the 279 super chat. Thank you so much. Saying, so Clyde, is that guitars, Cadillacs, hillbilly music? What are you talking about? I don't know what you're even talking about. I have no idea. No, my guitar that I have, actually, I've got a few. Some of them are in storage because we're moving. But the one I have here is actually my dad gave me. It's his guitar, and he gave it to me. And it's a classical guitar, or like flamenco style. I really, really appreciate that kind of music. It's just beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. And it's probably out of tune, so I'm going to have to tune it before I jam with the boys tonight. But let's get into some of this stuff, because there is a lot to go over. And of course, the story is, woman gets shot in Minneapolis when she was just minding her own business. She just rolling down the street and somehow ended up in the middle of a confrontation with ICE and was shot by ICE officer. That's what they would have you believe. If that were actually true, that's not actually the case. It isn't the case at all. And then, of course, this is the way they want to spin it. This is the way they run the story for everybody to see, because, well, especially with the Mayor Jacob Frey and Tim Waltz in the media for so much fraud, they like that fraud stuff to go away, and they want to shift the blame onto somebody else. Say, hey, pay attention over here. Go have a look at that. And here's what Jacob Frey had to say just the other day about the shooting incident, and we're going to get into the details about it.
To ICE. Get the fuck out of Minneapolis.
Oh,
your stated reason.
Harsh words from a guy who's probably going to be indicted soon for tremendous amounts of fraud. Yeah, that's really going to be interesting. And this story is fraudulent, actually, and his rage is fraudulent.
For being in this city is to create some kind of safety, and you are doing exactly the opposite. Somebody is dead. That's on you. This was an agent recklessly using power that resulted in somebody dying. To the family, I'm so deeply sorry. We're going to be working towards justice as quickly as we possibly can right now. And justice is what we've all got to get. We're going to make sure...
Oh, the comment here, why was her vehicle sideways in the street? Is there more to the video? So I don't know if there's more to the beginning of the video, but we get more explanation to why her vehicle is halfway in the street.
Or that in this very difficult moment, we do not take the bait that these ICE agents are trying to create, and that the
Okay, Sean's ghost saying that agent put himself in a dangerous position by standing in front of a car trying to escape. It's not what happened, and we're going to go over that. In fact, the new footage really shows that that's not what his intentions were. In fact, he was trying to go over to the other side of the vehicle when the vehicle moved to position itself in front of him. And we'll see that in just a second here.
federal government, to be clear, wants.
People are going to want to exercise their First Amendment rights, but please do so safely and lawfully to ensure that we do not have any further tragedy in this city or destruction.
So he called her an effing B after shooting her. That's going to be tough to defend. So she just hit him with a car. She just hit him with a car, and that will be apparent in just a moment here. Getting hit with a car, I would imagine, after just several months prior, him being dragged by a car, by another assailant, being an ICE agent, having to get, I think, 30 some odd stitches, getting dragged 300 feet by a moving vehicle. Yeah, I think the effing B is, it's justifiable, I would say.
We can show them the kind of courage, bravery, love, and compassion that makes Minneapolis, Minneapolis. Let's unite around hope and love and peace and getting justice.
Okay, so that's the mayor of Minneapolis, who's a right piece of something, jumping in there and saying his piece, and bringing this narrative to the table that she was just doing a thing. She just happened to be rolling through Minnesota and got shot by a cop. That's not what happened. That's not what happened at all. In fact, she's an out-of-stater. She was not from the state, or she's not from the city. She was from another town, and she rolled up in there because she was part of a growing left-wing dissenting group, which are tipped off to where ICE agents are, and then they go there in order to get between the subjects that ICE is trying to apprehend and themselves. They want and ICE. So they're obstructing. Their goal here is to obstruct federal investigations and federal apprehensions. That's illegal, impeding in an arrest. But nonetheless, these people are doing a lot of this. We're going to get back to Andy No here. Now, Donald Trump Jr. tweeting out this new footage saying the media owes J.D. Vance and all Americans a big apology. The Minneapolis ICE shooting is literally Covington 2026. The video clearly shows the ICE officer getting hit by the car. She comes right at him. She doesn't get more. It doesn't get more conclusive than that. Here's a thread. He gives a whole thread to this. So Donald Trump Jr. pointing out, if she's trying to drive away, why is her wife not trying to get in the car? In the car instead is instigating the officer and videoing it. In other still pictures from the video, she makes direct eye contact with him and goes anyway. Now, the other thing to note, and I don't know if he writes this in here, her wife was shouting, "Drive, baby, drive," while she was pointing the car at the officer. This is something that happened. Donald Trump Jr. saying, this fake news is always going to be fake, but give me a break. These are agitators literally trying to create this kind of chaos driven by insane liberals, driving them giving them the feeling that they can do no wrong and are above the law. Just like the Covington kid, this ICE officer should sue all of the media and Democrats who slander him and reported their narrative rather than the facts, and who didn't bother for any investigation or other video that didn't back up what they wanted to be true. He'll win. He'll win. I believe he'll win for sure. So here's the vehicle pointed, the lesbian couple's vehicle here, a Honda Pilot, tragically not the stereotypical Subaru. Sorry, I can't. It's funny. Come on. It's a joke. But let's get into it. Let's get into it. Because here is, again, the scene. This is what actually went down. This was footage that we didn't have previously. This is footage that came out today showing exactly what happened. So here, and I'll break it down for you. So it's quite loud, so I'll turn it down here. So the officer walks around the vehicle. Walks around the vehicle to the front to speak to her. Now, what is she doing there? What is she doing there? She is blocking the road. This is a tactic. This is something that these left-wing groups have been doing. They come in and they've been what they call boxing in the police. Now, I want to say, don't box in the police. It's probably not smart. It's probably not smart at all. In fact, this officer here gives a perfect thing to say when it comes to this. This is how Minnesota should have been handled. Absolutely. I love the way this police officer, or I love this police officer. He's not woke and he's spitting out common sense and facts. Minnesota Dem politicians would do well to follow his lead and their talking points. They wouldn't. It doesn't fit their agenda. Of course it doesn't fit their agenda, but this is what he has to say.
Let me make this clear. Federal agents, ICE, HSI, are officers.
Hello there, Spider-Man.
They are agents of law enforcement. If you box them in with vehicles, it is reasonable for them to believe that they are being ambushed.
Yep.
And that this could end in a deadly situation. And it's reasonable for them to use force based on those conditions. Do not box in any law enforcement officer. You are breaking the law when you do that.
Yes, you are.
And you are putting yourself in danger. Following law enforcement agents around. The question is why? What do you plan on doing? It's also reasonable for them to believe that you're eventually going to do harm to them.
Yes, it's absolutely
if you
reasonable.
Ram any vehicle, especially that one that contains law enforcement agents, and that's any law enforcement, local, state, federal, county, and you do this intentionally, this is considered deadly force. Deadly force is anything that can cause great bodily harm or death.
That's right.
When you plow into a vehicle that contains law enforcement agents, you're using deadly force. And they can use deadly force in response to stop you. We need to be clear about these laws. We cannot become a society where we just decide to take everything in our own hands and start to commit crimes against law enforcement. It is a crime. You may not like what they're doing. I can understand that there's a lot of emotions out there, but that does not mean that you get to commit a crime.
That's correct.
Especially one that could lead to deadly force. We need to keep everyone safe.
We do need to keep everyone safe, and that's what their job is. That's what they're doing, and that's what they've been doing. Now, it's just so strange that liberal white women just feel entitled to do whatever the heck it is that they feel like they want to do. Here's a perfect example of it. This is great. This is why do all these liberal white middle class Karens think that they're above the law? A policeman tells you to get out of your car. You get the hell out of your car. You absolutely do. Here's a perfect example of this.
Step on out of the car. You're under arrest. Step on out of the car. You're under arrest. Step on out of the car. You're under arrest.
You don't want to.
So many of these women just feel like they've done so much stuff to men, and I'm sure they're absolute bees in their own life, right? They're absolute pestering, terrible women to the men around them in their lives. But that's one thing. Those men are just okay, go along with it, go about their day. But when you're dealing with law enforcement, they're not gonna put up with it. You go to the Starbucks and you want to shout out at the manager because your latte wasn't perfect. That's one thing, and it's crappy and everybody hates you for it. But you do this to law enforcement, it's gonna be a bad day, lady. And let this be a lesson to women out there, like all kinds, and not just women. Just there are men that do this stuff, and it's just absolutely asinine. Don't do this. Comply with law enforcement. If they're in the wrong, sue them later. This is really simple.
Ma'am, I've provided you multiple requests for your license, registration, and insurance. Okay, step on out of the car. Do it now.
She doesn't. I do not have to.
I will break this window.
It's a lawful order, and look how much time he's taking to do it.
Step on out of the
He's
car.
being so extra forgiving. It's treason if you break my window, she says.
This is so illegal. I would not do that.
You can contest that in court, ma'am.
Yes, contest it in
You're under
court.
arrest for obstruction at this point.
Court. It won't make it to court.
Yes, it is.
It won't make it to court. You guys, I assure you, you don't want to do this. I'm with the Federal Postal.
Did you see what that device was? It was one of those pins that'll break the window. But watch what actually happens. I'll save you all the time. She argues and argues and argues and argues and argues, and she's making phone calls, and they're just so patient. Because I'll tell you what, if it was me acting like this to an officer, it wouldn't last this long. It would be done a lot sooner. But this is nonetheless how they treat it.
Step out of the car. Do it now.
Step out. You're gonna.
So in goes the pepper spray. The window goes out. They open the door. She has a hissy fit. They pull her out. Your rights are read. You're Mirandized, and you go to jail. And you go straight to jail. Straight to jail. Do not collect $200. And that's the way it is. It's absolutely the way it is. But this is the fact of the matter. You get so many of these people that feel like you can just get away with all of this stuff. Now, what happened at this case? Well, we've got other footage from other witnesses, eyewitnesses in this case, and even in this one, this was new footage that came out, and it was even difficult for CNN to justify what the heck she was even doing there. So here you go. Megan Basham says, so in the new CNN footage, it's quite clear that the officer did not walk up to the front of the car when Good backs up the car. It places him in front and would give him very good reason to believe she was aiming the car at him, and then his guns came out. That's what happened.
Nicole Good. That's on the right there in the back. The surveillance
So that's her
video
car
taken
right
by
here.
a home nearby.
He's
Agents can
off.
be seen
He's
milling about
coming in
near
off the
vehicle,
side.
then converging
Then
on
he's
it,
put in front.
And then you see right there the SUV
She guns it
begins
at
to
him.
move, and that's when the shots are fired.
Now, mind you, this can happen very, very quickly. This car is gunning at him, engines revving,
Now, prior to
tires
this,
are
the video
spinning.
shows the SUV had been stationary and sideways across the road like that for about 3 minutes. The reason for that is unclear.
It's
CNN
unclear.
has obtained some new video. Again, it's grainy
unclear.
and distant, but it shows 4 full minutes leading up to the shooting. It shows Renee Good's maroon Honda Pilot entering from the right there. Then 20 seconds later, someone gets out on the passenger side. We don't know who or why this person leaves the car. We then see her.
You're absolutely dense if you don't know who. Anderson Cooper, it's her spouse. It's clear because the other videos that corroborate that. She gets out so that she could film the situation as they're blocking traffic and impeding in ICE's activity. They're impeding in federal agents' ability to navigate what they're trying to do. This is what's up.
Turn and pull perpendicular across the street, seeming to block the way. But as you see here, leaving room for vehicles to pass by her on either side. Finally,
come on, Anderson, you know better than that. But you have a narrative to keep perpetrating.
Finally, there is this new angle of the federal officer who shot her. He arrives, another federal SUV pulls up. As the ICE officer briefly goes back to his car, then he returns, and with another agent grabbing at her door, she starts to move forward. Again, it's hard to see from this angle, followed by 3 gunshots in quick succession.
Yes, it's easy when you combine all the
4
angles.
minutes in all from start to finish. But for all the video that may reveal, it says nothing about why Renee Good was where she was or what she was doing there. And it's not all we don't know.
Yeah, he says we don't know. We don't know what she was doing there. Well, we do know based on some of this other, well, we know based on what's been said and these people who've been organizing for this purpose, for impeding in these investigations of criminal illegals that are in the country that ICE is dispatched to. Now, just to make this clear, ICE does not get dispatched to just go out and search willy-nilly and ask people for ID. No, they're going after people that they specifically know that have had an order to leave the country. Their visas have expired, and the courts have said, you now have to leave. You have to leave the country, and they have refused to leave. That's how this happens. They don't just they don't just go looking for anybody. This is what's happening. So here's the scene again from another angle. Officers here, and then the vehicle comes in and bashes him, actually hits him and makes him move back as he shoots. And then there's screaming. Going on. Now, I think there's another angle here. This angle really illustrates it because you could see, and this is where I have maybe a more of a nuanced position on this one. I don't think that her intention was to hit the agent. There, I said it. But I don't think that the agent was unjustified in doing what he did. This woman doesn't know how to drive a car, and she drove it right at him. What she didn't do was turn the wheels before gunning it directly at the agent. So here she is backing up, and you can see at this point, she puts the brakes on, and at this exact moment, the officer is directly in line with the vehicle. Now, before she even turns the wheels to go right, to go the other way, she's still pointing left and straightening the wheels. When she guns it, not even turned straight yet, and the wheel is spinning directly at the officer, and she's gunning it, and her lesbian wife is saying, "Drive, baby, drive." That's what's happening at that moment. And here it is, the wheel's spinning. He didn't pull his firearm until the wheels started spinning. So if anyone says that this was preempted in any sort of way, look at the sequence of events that occurs right here. She's turning the wheels, and she's now in gear because the reverse lights are now off at this point, right? So the reverse lights would be on. She's hitting the brakes. Lights go out. She's now off the brake and on the gas. Wheel spins. Officer has not drawn a weapon yet. Vehicle starts lunging towards him. He pulls his sidearm out. The wheels are still straight and pointed directly at him at this point. He draws. And that's when the wheels start to turn the other way. That's when the wheels start to turn to the right. And by that point, he's made his split-second decision and fires. He was hit, he was struck, and he fires 2 more times. That's what went down. That's absolutely what went down. That's in my estimate of what went on. Love to hear what you guys have to say in the comments here. Leave a comment in there. She could have put it in park. Instead, she chose drive. That's right. Drive's way the other way on the shifter on those things. I believe the shifter's on the center console on those. Either way, on a Honda Pilot. Either way, she went completely the other way and went into drive. That's what happened. That's what occurred. And her spouse, her wife, was shouting, "Drive, baby, drive." Not saying, "Wait for me, I want to get in the car." No, she was saying, "Drive, baby, drive," with the officer right in front. And that's exactly how that went down. Now, there's, of course, a lot of narrative, a lot of spin. The media is trying on this one to go in that direction. Yep, I agree. Let me assure you, I would be arrested. She should never have attempted to drive with that officer standing there, period. If I were a cop and a pedestrian, same deal. She could have chose not to block ice in the first place. Drive from from another city all the way to do that. Get the right video, the video from the Agents Fest. Don't worry, I got that video. I started this live stream with that video. We're gonna get to that as well because that makes sense. In fact, why don't we just get to that right now because we see this here. So again, here we are, the agent, and I'm gonna turn it down because here he comes. She's stationary, right? At this point, her wheels are pointed straight. Oh, no, a little bit to the left. So her wheels are pointed a little bit to the left, and she's parked in the middle of the road, perpendicular to the road. She's sideways in the road. So he walks around the front of the vehicle, to which she meets him and jeers at him. This was taunting or mocking. This is the same kind of mockery that you get from a lot of Karens in this kind of situation where they feel like they're above the law in some sort of way. You're impeding in a federal investigation. You can be jailed for this. You absolutely can be jailed for this. Just the pompous face right there. This like how would you describe this, chat? How would you describe that look on her face as she just? It's just unbelievable that grin. Like, what do you? You're not Kevin McAllister, okay? You're a grown ass woman. You know, this isn't a movie. This is life. It's just unbelievable. So she jeers at them and says something. That's fine, dude. I'm not mad at you. What is that? And that's the libtard face. Deranged face. Stupid. Retarded. Lesbian on drugs. That's the libtard face. Yeah, it's just unbelievable. Kevin McAllister Lamau. Yeah, well, she was... Yeah. The booby traps didn't work out quite the way she thought they would work out, right?
That's okay. We don't change our plates every morning, just so you know.
So the wife saying, so just so you know, we don't change our plates every day. They'll be the same plates the next day. She used to wear neon jackets.
It'll be the same plate when you come talk to us later.
Right. I'm not sure what that's even in reference to. Of course, the federal officers are going to take note of the plate so that they can pass that information on to the appropriate authorities for ticketing or whatever would come next.
That's fine. U.S. citizen, former fucking driver. You want to come at us?
So you want to come at us, calling the officer on?
You want to come at us? I say go get yourself some lunch, big boy.
Go get yourself some lunch, big boy. I'm not sure what that even means. Like he's not big enough to handle the lesbian woman in flannel. Of course, I'm wearing plaid, but I mean, stereotypes, man, stereotypes. If you're gonna live up to all the stereotypes, drive a Subaru, please. Would you? Time to start handing out red gowns. I'm pretty sure this is Canada's fault. Just invade already. Her, he, him, wife got her killed. Yeah, the wife got her killed. Yeah, that's right. And actually, there was an article where the individual said, so Renee Good's wife claimed the Minneapolis police shooting was my fault in a video. Anti-ICE fury. Of course, not in the sense that you might think, but we could revisit this. Let's get back to the main video here. I'm a lumberjack, lol. They like your shirt, Clyde. I don't know. It's like, yeah, all the lesbians out there, they dig my my shtick. They like it. They like my steez. The lesbian doing the role, man. Who was the man? There was no man. This was the lesbian wife. Yeah, in track pants and flannel, trying to instigate. So this was an instigation. This is what was happening here. So again, the wheels pointed to the left. There was no other passengers in the car. She tries entering the car. It appears that maybe the door was locked. So she starts yelling, "Drive, baby, drive," at this point. And like I said, we could see on the other camera angle that this was the point where she was trying to back up a bit and then cracked it right into drive before even turning the wheels entirely. So straightening the wheels here. Drive, baby, drive, and she starts gunning it right at the police officer that's standing in front of the vehicle. Now, the ICE officer. Now, he was just trying to go around. He didn't assume that she was going to put it in gear. So that's the point where the officer gets hit. And you can see other footage of other incidences similar to this. I thought I had a clip up here. Let's see. Another similar incident. No, that's the Quebec incident. Let's try to find this one. Another incident where a driver. Yeah, right here. Okay, so people are saying that the agent shouldn't have shot her. Officers, and this is from Kaizen. He's a great channel to follow. Officers are trained to treat a vehicle being driven at them as a deadly force. They have seconds to respond. They don't know the driver's intent. They are in real time, not hindsight. This is crazy. So this is another incident, a similar type incident here.
As the Jeep continued to advance, Officer Caprio got off one shot. WJZ won't show the rest, but a somber jury saw and heard Amy Caprio dying from massive crushing injuries. As the Jeep continued to advance, Officer Caprio...
That is just absolutely insane. So this is the kind of thing that can happen to a person.
Caprio got off one shot. WJZ won't show the rest, but a...
So that could have happened. But that officer popped off a shot there. Now this is a pretty good clip. This is of Scott Jennings, who is the voice of reason over at CNN. They I don't even know why they even have him anymore, because he makes them look bad on a daily basis. This is what he had to say.
I agree with you, Jonathan. I think there's some details we don't know yet, and we'll have to learn more about it. What strikes me is, first of all, it's extremely sad and unfortunate that someone died. I mean, the political fighting and disagreements aside, it's terrible. You don't want people to die in law enforcement situations or otherwise. But it strikes me that we are undergoing an epidemic of political vigilantism right now. Why are people showing up in vehicles, in convoys, not just in Minneapolis, but all over the country, in an effort to obstruct lawful federal law enforcement activities? This is not an isolated incident. We have had hundreds of car rammings against ICE agents all over the country. According to DHS, this lady in this car today, along with other vehicles, had been tracking ICE agents around. Why are people believing that they can drive their car into a federal law enforcement situation and that is an appropriate thing to do? I understand they don't like the fact that these agents are enforcing existing immigration law, But that's not how we change laws in this country. If you don't like a law, you talk to the politicians. You don't drive your car into the middle of a building or a law enforcement situation that's being occupied by the people who are simply there to enforce the law. If I don't like...
Or jury nullification. A lot of people don't know about that. If there's an unjust law and you don't want to convict, you can, in the case of a jury trial, you can nullify a law by not convicting. It's called jury nullification. And, you know, you can actually influence a jury to be aware of this. This is not breaking the law. If you don't give them any details to a case and you know that jury members are coming into a courthouse, you can hand out leaflets teaching them about jury nullification. That's absolutely legal. It's absolutely legal. But you cannot discuss a case with a member of a jury. That is illegal. That is not allowed. You can be arrested for that. So that is another way if you disagree with the law, as well as what Jennings is saying here. Talk to your politicians.
Like how much the IRS is charging me in taxes, I don't drive my car into the Treasury Department and try to run somebody over. I call my congressman. Political vigilantism is being encouraged by Democratic officials like the Lieutenant Governor of Minnesota, Peggy Flanagan, who earlier this year told people to, quote, put your bodies on the line, and Tim Walz calling these guys Gestapo all year. What do you think happens when you radicalize a base of people about this? It does strike me.
Yeah, that's exactly what happens. It's what goes down, and we're watching it. We're watching it happen in real time. We're absolutely watching it happen in real time. People are literally building barricades in the streets. It's unbelievable. So this is the scene right here. This is in Minneapolis. It's so crazy. It's so absolutely crazy. A no-go zone has been put up in Minneapolis. It's funny. They put up walls and barriers to keep people out, but they don't want border walls to keep illegal aliens out, which sparked this whole situation in the first place. Wow, it's a little too ironic, a little too spicy for them. It really is. But it's all about dismantling society. Here we go. Here's a picture. Plan accordingly. What is that image? Holy crap. Holy crap. That's right. So here's Andy No, who's been following all the cases of Antifa, these left-wing movements, these left-wing organizations. They say it's not an organization. It's just a loose idea of people that don't organize or doing anything, except George Soros and a bunch of others are funding it, and it's absolutely organized. It's very organized. It's organized to the point where they're telling people where the ICE agents will be in a very organized way. But this is the thing. A leftist on X is urging comrades to show up and kill DHS agents in response to left-wing social media influencer. That's right, Brian Cranston posting a target map of alleged ICE locations in Minneapolis. This follows the shooting of the ICE Watch activist who showed up to confront ICE and accelerate their vehicle into an agent. Elon Musk, do X posts organizing criminal obstruction activity against law enforcement violate any policies? Some accounts like Cranston do it with the incentive of monetized engagement and X paid subscriptions. That would be interesting to find out. But yeah, here's Cranston actually telling people where to go. And then one of these crazy followers showing, if you can't tell what this image is, it's a firearm on a tripod in the back of a vehicle with a veil. So they're from the back seat being able to aim this firearm. That is just crazy. That is all kinds of levels of crazy. These people, like this is criminal. Who is this guy? Why aren't they picking him up? Like that's just unfreaking believable when you see that kind of stuff. But Andy, no, absolutely a great source on this kind of information. This is great, and in fact, here he is reporting to Donald Trump about what it was. All of his reporting on Antifa.
At least 3 of these courageous journalists have personally been victims of Antifa attacks. Andy Ngo has been repeatedly beaten by Antifa thugs for his work in Andy is a very serious person, too, I have to tell you. I've been watching him for a long time. Is Andy here? That's what I thought. Hello, Andy. I thought that was you. You're looking better than you do out on those streets, huh? You look much better. It's nice to have you. You feel a little safer here, I think, maybe. Well, not that safe, because you have them. You have to worry about that. But thank you very much. Andy Ngo has been repeatedly beaten by Antifa, and including one assault that left him with a brain hemorrhage.
Thank you, Mr. President and members of the cabinet. I have a lot of gratitude, and a little bit about my background. I'm born in Portland, Oregon, from there. And growing up, it's always been left-wing, very progressive. And I liked it. It had cafes and artists and those who lived a bohemian lifestyle. And in 2016, I was a graduate student at Portland State studying political science. I was an editor at the student paper there, a very progressive paper. And I was assigned to cover the election night demonstrations. Well, the elections night protests turned to riots, 3 days of violent rioting in Portland. And it was the first time that I saw groups dressed in black with their faces covered. This is 4 years before COVID. Some of them were waving the black flag of anarchism, some the red flag of Marxism. And within seconds, they would ravage one street to another, to another, to another. And the next day, I would read the legacy media, which I still read at that time and looked forward to, and I looked up to those journalists. And I was really shocked to see that the narrative was that these, in my view, anti-democratic political violence was legitimate acts of protest because people were concerned about racism or all these other lies. And so for the next 4 years, I just continued going out with my video camera. I thought, look, people can ignore what I write because of spin, but videos can quite speak for themselves. And in 2019, it led to me nearly losing my life. I was covering another Antifa protest turned riot. At that point, had been routine in Portland, and then I was ambushed in a mob beating. And I had never been in a fight. I didn't even realize that I was being assaulted until seconds in. And the punches came from everywhere on my head and my face, and I was bleeding out of my eyes and ears, and then they threw all the drinks in my eyes to humiliate me further and to laugh at me. And I was rushed to the hospital in an ambulance and CT scan, and I had subarachnoid hemorrhage, which is bleeding in the brain. I nearly died. And after surviving that, the reporting that I saw in liberal media it seemed to suggest that I had deserved it, because they branded me far right, and some even went so far as to suggest that I maybe faked my injuries. A BuzzFeed reporter asked for my medical records, which I did provide, but this felt so...
It's insane that you would have to.
Because I didn't die in that attack, there was another round of people who wanted to finish me off. But I continued, and then 2020, Portland was really the epicenter of the longest political violence. Those months of riots, I was on the ground, undercover, and there was a...
Where was this? This was in Portland, Oregon.
Assassination there. There was a supporter of Donald Trump named Aaron Danielson who was shot dead by a self-described Antifa member who
Point blank, by the way,
fled out of state and died in a shootout with U.S. Marshals.
He in that case, he walked up to the guy. He said, are you a Trump supporter? The guy said, yeah. And then he shouted, I got a Trump supporter here, and then pulled out a gun and shot him in the face. That's how that went down. Unbelievable.
In 2021, I returned undercover, naively thinking that enough time had passed, and was chased through the streets of downtown and beaten, nearly choked out. The person who was trying to choke me out held me so tightly that I had the blood, the vessels in my eyes burst. So one of the symptoms were my eyes were completely red after that, and I was hospitalized. So thank you so much for acknowledging Antifa and for directing your administration to treat them as domestic terrorists.
All that for politics.
It's going to be really challenging because how they organize is that they are decentralized, autonomous, and they operate on deception. And we're still to this day told that they don't exist, that it's a figment of our imagination. I think the DOJ could look at federal conspiracy charges. The state of California and San Diego County last year broke up an Antifa cell in San Diego. And I think maybe perhaps the State Department should designate Antifa, its international arm, as a foreign terrorist organization, FTO. So thank you so much for this invitation, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, Andy. Great. That's a rough time you had, huh? So the chokeout was almost the end, you felt?
Yeah, that was my only near-death experience in my life, and I'm quite shaken when I think about it now.
Absolutely.
It really feels unbelievable to me that on the streets of America that this type of violence against citizens could become so routine and accepted and cheered on by people. Although, in the immediate aftermath of Mr. Kirk's assassination, we saw again that type of depravity play out on quite large swaths of the left. So there's a deep sickness that's in this country right now, and it pains me a lot to acknowledge it.
Yeah, the amazing thing is you look at Portland, and you see fires all over the place. You see fights and, just violence. It's just so crazy. And then you talk to the governor, and she acts like everything is totally normal. There's nothing wrong. It's almost like, are you waking up from a dream or something?
So you're not going to see this in the media. Yeah. You're not going to see that McMichael. Amazing that Trump is talking on this. Yeah, it is amazing, but you're not going to see the media even addressing this. JD, Antifa's in Canada? Yeah, they're absolutely in Canada. Absolutely in Canada. Holy cow, I just did a story on this the other day because Donald Trump, official White House, designating Antifa as a domestic terrorist organization. They're more of a global terrorist organization for all intents and purposes. But yeah, they put this forward, and what was it? Just recently, there was this publication in Montreal. Excuse me. And this publication was Antifa. It's members of Antifa calling on their members to attack American citizens in Canada and attack American businesses and target American-owned and operated businesses within Canada. This was reported on by Juno News. Cosman wrote this article. Cosman Zerza, I hope I'm pronouncing that. I can never pronounce your name right, man. You get a pen name like Smith or something. I don't know. I'm joking. I kid. But yeah, breaking Canadian Antifa cells call for attacks and anti-American riots over the Maduro arrest. Why? Because they're communists. They're communists. Absolutely. You cover the leftist terrorist power outage in Germany? No, I didn't cover that story. I wasn't even aware of it. But back to the story about that woman being shot as she was accelerating her car towards an agent. JD Vance jumps in. He blasts the corporate media coverage over how they've been handling this situation. And this was great. This was amazing. In fact, JD Vance, more balls than I've seen any vice president in my recollection of the history of that office.
When I was actually walking out here, somebody sent me a photo of a CNN headline about what happened in Minneapolis. And this is the headline. I'm just going to read it. Outrage after ICE officer kills U.S. citizen in Minneapolis. Well, That's one way to put it, and that is the way that many people in the corporate media have put this attack over the last 24 hours. And I say attack very, very intentionally, because this was an attack on federal law enforcement. This was an attack on law and order. This was an attack on the American people. The way that the media, by and large, has reported this story has been an absolute disgrace, and it puts our law enforcement officers at risk every single day. What that headline leaves out is the fact that that very ICE officer nearly had his life ended, dragged by a car 6 months ago, 33 stitches in his leg. So you think maybe he's a little bit sensitive about somebody ramming him with an automobile? What that headline leaves out is that that woman was there to interfere with a legitimate law enforcement operation in the United States of America.
I'm just going to pause it right there because we need to have a look at what actually happened to that officer previously. So breaking, the ICE agent involved in yesterday's fatal shooting of Renee Nicole Good in Minnesota was dragged more than 300 feet by a vehicle just 6 months ago during the arrest of an illegal immigrant child graper, one of those guys. Yeah, I gotta watch your language on YouTube. In June of 2025, he was arresting Robert Carlos Monzo, an illegal immigrant from Guatemala convicted of doing some really bad stuff with a kid who had been released in Minnesota under Governor Tim Walz's sanctuary policies. That's right. Tim Walz let out a person who did that. The agent broke the rear driver's side window with a spring-loaded punch. The driver then sped off, dragging the agent roughly 300 feet while swerving through front yards. The agent was hospitalized and needed 33 stitches. Why are Democrats releasing illegal immigrant people who do really bad stuff to kids instead of turning them over to deportation? It's just unbelievable.
This home security video shows a driver taking off during a traffic stop, dragging a deportation officer with him. New at 10, WCCO's Uba Ali walks us through this video and the political firestorm behind it.
What began as a planned federal immigration arrest took a violent turn in this quiet Bloomington neighborhood. And it was all caught on camera. According to a federal complaint, agents were executing a warrant for 39-year-old Roberto Carlos Munoz. They say Munoz entered the country unlawfully, and he also pled guilty to fourth-degree criminal sexual conduct back in 2023 for abusing a minor. Tuesday morning, agents pulled him over. Court documents say he repeatedly refused to comply before a federal agent took out his spring-loaded window punch with his right hand and broke the driver's side rear window. These images show the officer's hand in the vehicle. In this video, you can see the driver take off with the agent hanging from the car, dragging him 300 feet through front yards.
Rob, man, this is the ICE agent that shot the woman. This is what happened to him. This happened 6 months ago.
Graphic images show the aftermath. A bloody agent who needed 33 stitches for his significant cuts. And now a political battle with a top Homeland Security official criticizing Governor Tim Walz, posting on X, instead of comparing ICE law enforcement to the Gestapo, Walz should be thanking our brave law enforcement. The Department of Justice says a request for Munoz to be held.
What does she actually say there? This illegal alien convicted sex offender under Governor Tim Walz, this sicko was living in Minnesota and committing violent crimes for nearly 15 years. Instead of comparing ICE law enforcement to the Gestapo, Walz should be thanking the brave law enforcement for arresting these violent criminals.
The Department of Justice says a request for Munoz to be held after that 2022 arrest was, quote, not honored by local authorities, and Munoz was released.
That is just unfreaking believable. But that's the propaganda machine we see. Propaganda machine is now in full force. These are going to ramp up as planned. United States Portal Services sends alarming letter out to employees and contractors. Letter signaling that impending crisis of civil unrest or an epidemic could be imminent. Oh, yeah. Whatever. That's unreal. Anyway, back to Tim Waltz talking about this officer.
Enforcement operation in the United States of America. What that headline leaves out is that that woman is part of a broader left-wing network to attack, to dox, to assault, and to make it impossible for our ICE officers to do their job. If the media wants to tell the truth, they ought to tell the truth that a group of left-wing radicals have been working tirelessly, sometimes using domestic terror techniques to try to make it impossible for the President of the United States to do what the American people elected him to do, which is enforce our immigration laws. The President stands with ICE, I stand with ICE, we stand with all of our law enforcement officers.
Yep.
And part of that is recognizing that you people in the media, not everybody in this room, but many people in
Most
this
of
room
them
have been lying about this attack. She was trying to ram this guy with her car. He shot back. He defended himself. He's already been seriously wounded in law enforcement operations before, and everybody who's been repeating the lie that this is some innocent woman who was out for a drive in Minneapolis when a law enforcement officer shot at her, you should be ashamed of yourselves.
Now, I'm going to say again, as I said before, I don't think she necessarily was trying to hit him. She was trying to turn the wheel and drive off. She had zero regard if she did hit him, though, is what I'm getting at. And not only that, she did not operate her vehicle in the intended what she was trying to do. And every intent of what it looked like she was doing was trying to ram him. Because I believe that she was trying to get out of there. But then it would be one of those moments where it's like she would probably drive a bit and then stop and get her lesbian wife or whatever the heck she was trying to do. But it's one of those things where, again, going back to this liberal white woman Karen sort of thing, is they have no regard for other people. Zero regard for other people. It's just what they want, what they're going to do, and everybody to hell with them. Not realizing that you're behind the wheel of a multi-ton projectile. A giant projectile that can kill people. It's an automobile. It's unbelievable. Solid take on it, Clyde. I believe she wanted to just give him a little nudge out of the way. Yeah, but for all intents and purposes, it looked like she was lunging at him. So it was a justified shooting. It was absolutely a justified shooting. In my opinion. But you can't just give a federal officer a little nudge. It's not allowed. But this is the same kind of idiot woman who would walk up to a man and just start punching and slapping and doing all this stuff, thinking nothing would ever happen. Nothing could ever happen. Well, I'm sorry, but you can't do that stuff to a federal agent. In the course of his duties, you're gonna get, if you went up and started slapping and punching somebody, you're gonna get detained, and forcefully, very forcefully. It is not gonna feel good. Let me tell you, if you do that with a vehicle, you're probably gonna get some holes put in you. And that's what happened. And that's absolutely what happened. Just asinine people, just completely off their rocker. I absolutely can't believe it. But here's Andy No. He's covering a lot of these stories every single day, talking more about these left-wing I don't even know how to respond to that image. Left-wing groups that do exactly this. They're going to these areas. Here's a Portland area congresswoman asked about the incitement of violence against federal agents after the Tren de Agua attempted car ramming incident by calling federal agents terrorists. In the incident, she stands by what she said. Listen to this.
And just real quickly, there are folks that are going to hear you say things like state-sponsored terrorism. You put out as a statement, literally, stop fucking with us, was your words. These are goons. And they'll say that is raising the temperature and actually puts some of this law enforcement officers in greater danger.
Totally
What
does.
do you say to that?
I said what I said.
Okay. And just real quickly, there are folks that are going to hear you say...
Wow. Like skirting around the legal definition of inciting violence, right? Absolutely skirting around that definition. British extremist Trantifa group. That's so funny that that's actually a term. Trantifa group has posted a claim of responsibility on January 5th for hacking the Free Speech Union website. This is Andy No is just a plethora of great information. So make sure you get over, give him a follow, go read his books. Amazing work. DHS has released a statement. Says Border Patrol agents were nearly run over by two people in a truck during a targeted stop in East Portland. The two migrants were shot. Are suspected criminals believed to be part of the Tren de Agua terror gang. That's right. There you go. There's part of the Tren de Agua. Trantifa. Sorry. Wow. So yeah, the wife in this case, Renee Good's wife, claimed Indianapolis shooting was my fault in a video amid anti-ICE fury. Let's see what she had to say.
Any loss of life is a tragedy, and I think all of us can agree that in this situation it was preventable. I've spoken to the president today on the situation here on the ground. I also just got off the phone a little while ago with Governor Walz and spoke to him as well.
I don't think she's in this video for some reason. It doesn't feel like she said it here. Let's go. Video from the scene shows Renee Good's wife, Rebecca Brown, in distress immediately after shooting, saying she encouraged Renee to attend the location where ICE agents were operating. So they got heads up and were going to this thing. In the video taken by Big Sleaze, yup, that's the person's name, Big Sleaze, yup. She could be hearing saying, "I made her come down here. It's my fault." You also made her drive the car. Well, you didn't make her. You encouraged her to. You encouraged her to drive. Drive, baby, drive, she said. Drive, baby, drive, with the officer in front of the vehicle. That at least should call for gross negligence. While Noam and President Donald Trump have framed Good as a professional agitator intent on harming agents, family members are disputing that characterization, as if that doesn't happen, as if that's not true. Renee Good's mother, Donna Ganger, was that correct? Ganger? Told the Minneapolis Star Tribune that Renee would never have been a part of anything like that, and described her as compassionate and non-confrontational. Does the video look like someone who's
It's home security video.
No, not this one. Is the original? Nope. Where'd it go? There it is. Does this look like non-confrontational? Honestly. That's fine, dude. Her best, like, old age Macaulay Culkin thing going on, or if Macaulay Culkin was a little girl. But no, it's crazy. That is absolutely confrontational. Absolutely confrontational. So it's showing her in her vest, right? Yeah, get that Good photo up. Renee Good has ties to an organized anti-ICE network in Minneapolis that trains participants to monitor and interfere with federal migration enforcement operation, the New York Post reported. According to the Post, Good became involved with a group known as ICE Watch, a loose coalition dedicated to documenting and disrupting ICE activity in the sanctuary city. Sanctuary city. I mean, you're still... You know what? Cut their funding. What are you doing? Like, I don't understand this. Maybe I don't know. Because I'm such a libertarian. I'm like, and not like the... I have a hard time associating with libertarians because I'm a small government guy. I'm small government. I don't believe in some of the stuff that libertarians even believe in. I do believe the government does have a right to exist. I just think that they have a limited scope in what they should be doing. You may agree, you may disagree with me on that one, but that's where I stand on that one. She's in La La Land. I feel sorry for the kids with two moms. No, they don't have two moms. Oh, put ice on that. For real. Yes, though, I've egged her on. So, I'm not even going there. I'm not even going there. Not even going there. Here's New York Post. Needs my help to turn off ad blocker. Okay. We'll do that. As soon as that goes away. Come on. Come on, ad block. Go away. So I can get bombarded with ads for this one. Nicole Good was Minneapolis Ice Watch warrior who trained to resist feds before the shooting. Minneapolis, the mom who's killed by a federal agent veering her car towards him, was an anti-ICE warrior and was part of a group of activists who worked to document and resist the federal immigration crackdowns in Minnesota, the Post can reveal. Good, who moved to the city last year, linked up with the anti-ICE activists through her 6-year-old son's woke charter school. Wow. Good on you, charter schools. Which boasts that it puts social justice first and prioritizes involving kids in political and social activism. So put your children in harm's way, folks. That's what they're saying. That's what they're saying to do. Multiple local sources said, she was a warrior. She died doing what was right. A mother named Lisa, whose child attends the same school, told the Post at a growing vigil where Good was killed Wednesday. Oh no. This is what child abuse does. Like, I'm just willing to bet that those people were abused as children. Oh my goodness. I know she was doing the right thing. I watched the video plenty of times, but I also, in my heart, the woman she was doing everything right. Good and her wife Rebecca, 40, were raising the boy together in the mostly working class, activist heavy neighborhood in South Minneapolis, which features 3-line streets and a large number of homes with windows decked out in LGBTQ flags or signs depicting George Floyd, the patron saint of breathlessness. Just as many others did on the lefty enclave, Good sent her son to Southside Family Charter School, a K-5 academy opened in 1972 that was from its inception been unabashedly dedicated to social justice education, according to the co-founder Susie Oppenheim. Unreal. Where's the dad? Where's the dad? Why is no one reporting on what the dad thinks about this whole situation and how his son is being raised in this type of an environment? What is going on? It's a cult. Yes, it's a cult. A martyr like Che. The CIA should never have killed Che. He would have been forgotten. He would have been gone in the annals of history and never would have been remembered. Dad got erased. That's right. Erase those men in your lives. It's unbelievable. It was through her involvement in the school community that Good became involved in Ice Watch, a loose coalition of activists dedicated. They always say this, a loose coalition. Oh, it's so loose. It's so loose that they meet every week and they're on mailing lists, and it's loosely funded by all the members, and they loosely have telephone conversations with each other regularly, and they loosely get money from Soros. And they, like, why do they you just gotta keep trying to sow this idea that it's not a well-oiled, organized machine. This is what it is. Dedicated to disrupting ICE raids in the sanctuary city. Again, sanctuary cities should be cut off of all federal funding. Period. Period. All federal funding, and I mean everything, welfare, all that stuff. In fact, I'm a big proponent that any kind of welfare should only come from the state that's promising it. No federal funds should ever. People in Texas should not be paying for leering centers in Minneapolis. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. If Texans want leering centers in Texas, they can pay for leering centers in Texas. No, Clyde, he's the patron saint of speedballs or fentanyl. Loosely want to turn your child into a rainbow person. They're loosely doing that. They're loosely doing that. This case won't even make the front of a grand jury. No. 100%. Sanctuary cities are a bunch of shit. We don't have that in Canada. Well, you get federal funding for all that kind of stuff. And where does the federal funding come from? Alberta. That's right. The agent opened fire on Good in her Honda Pilot. Again, not a Subaru. Come on, if you're going to live up to all the stereotypes, drive a Subaru. After she started driving towards him in Minneapolis on January 7th, 2026. From my understanding, she was involved in social justice. We're a tight-knit community, and lots of parents are activists. Former Southside gym teacher Rashad Rich, who resigned from the school last month, told the Post. Why did he resign from the school? Why did he resign from the school? Like to know. He said current event topics like the killing of George Floyd were regular parts of the curriculum. Why is that part of a child's curriculum? This is why people are screwed up. Yeah, the $10 a day daycare in Canada, total scam. I'm sure there's some legitimate places, but a lot of the places that were doing good and fair and well enough, they're going to get overburdened by paperwork, and the scammers know how to do the paperwork. The scammers are great at paperwork. Scammers are fantastic at paperwork. Law-abiding citizens are overburdened by paperwork. Unreal. Yeah, he said the current event topics like killing of George Floyd were regular parts of the curriculum. Maybe that's why you had to resign. And last month, students took a field trip where they learned about Aboriginal issues. Ooh. A reference to the indigenous people of faraway Australia. Faraway Australia. Why don't you ever talk about the indigenous peoples of Africa or the indigenous peoples and social issues? Why is it always like tearing down the West? You want to just disrupt the West. Always. What about the indigenous peoples of, I don't know, Saudi Arabia? Coalition similar to, and there is problems with that. You know that big city, the line that they want to build? They're cutting through like Aboriginal peoples, like they're just like forcing them out at gunpoint where they've been for thousands of years. Coalitions similar to Ice Watch have cropped up all over the country with activists using phone apps, whistles and car horns to warn neighborhoods when ICE shows up. Loosely organized. They're loosely using phone apps. I don't know, like a loose organized phone app that's funded by, I don't know, George Soros, but it's loose. ICE Watch and adjacent groups can also turn confrontational with numerous instances of activists ramming agents with their cars in the past. Just loosely ramming agents with cars, and just little tiny misdemeanors or whatever. It's a federal offense. You go straight to jail. Straight to jail. Look at this. In Minneapolis, McDonald's is refusing entry to ICE agents. They even have a security guard in place outside. This is unacceptable. And any comments on this, McDonald's?
In this McDonald's in Minneapolis, there's a sign on the door that says ICE is not allowed. We couldn't help but notice there's a sign that says no ICE on the door.
Yeah, just to let you know, at the end of the day, this is private property. So you can't just break the law because you're a federal agent. It's like coming into your house or coming to any other restaurant. There's rules.
So one thing that's actually really interesting about him saying that, McDonald's is actually private property, and it's private property of the McDonald's Corporation. So the way McDonald's operates is they're actually in the real estate business, believe it or not. Like most other franchise restaurants, they franchise out the name and the recipes and the logos and all this other stuff. And each franchise holder will, pay X amount to own that franchise, and then they run the business on a property that they lease of their own, or purchase of their own. McDonald's is different. McDonald's owns the property. McDonald's goes in and buys the properties and then owns it, and then will lease that property to a franchisee. So McDonald's actually owns the property. So and it's leased out to the person who runs the McDonald's at the behest of McDonald's rules and all the terms and agreements, and making sure that the ice cream machine is down at least 75% of the time. You don't believe me? Go try to get an ice cream. 75% of the time is down. But nonetheless, because that's another scam that McDonald's Corporation does. But if McDonald's is actually running a thing where they do not allow ICE agents into their restaurant, either this franchisee is going to have a lot of hell to pay with the company, or this is actually a company-wide thing. Just throwing that out there. But if they're doing this could cause a lot of trouble for McDonald's across the board, because I'll tell you what, if they're not letting ICE agents in, even if ICE agents shouldn't be eating that food because it's garbage anyway, if they're not allowing that, and they're not making some public statement saying that's not the case, I ain't eating there. I'm not eating there. Forget it. I'll take my family somewhere else. We're not eating there. End of story. No more gangbangs for the guys at the shop, and no more. And if you don't know what that is, just Google search it. Actually, you know what? Maybe keep that off your Google search. But I'm not gonna take my family there. But this is what they're saying.
So you can't just break the law because you're a federal agent. It's like coming into your house or coming to any other restaurant. There's rules. So.
Did the manager put that on the door?
Like, what kind of rules? Are you hiring illegals at McDonald's? Is that what you're saying? You don't want ICE to come in and bust the illegals that are working at McDonald's? Is that what you're getting at? Why don't you just pay Americans? Why don't you just pay Americans to do the job at a normal rate instead of hiring illegals?
Door, how did that get there?
I'm not sure, but it's there.
How do you guys enforce it?
They read the sign. At the end of the day, you have all right to come in and make a purchase. It's just there's rules and regulations. You can't just walk behind the counter.
And this McDonald's.
This guy does not know what he's talking about. But I'm glad this Chickie's reporting on it. This was from the Daily Wired. Who is this? This is Becca Stoll. Okay, I'm gonna follow her because she's got some good stuff coming out now. So I noticed there's no what's this? I freaking love this new trend. Keep calling this stuff out to their faces, patriots. That's the way to do it. That's absolutely the way to do it. So there's no community guidelines on that one, or community notes. There's one on Benny Johnson's post. It says here, sign states ICE may not enter non-public areas of the business. It also warns if you attempt to enter this business without a valid judicial warrant, you will be asked to leave. The sign is contradictory to the the sign is contradictory and poorly written. There is no further evidence to support this post's claims. You don't need to put out a notice that ICE. You know what that tells me? When you put out a sign that says you're not allowed to come in the back room, people who look for illegal immigrants. And if you come in the back room, you better make sure that you've got all the warrants and all that stuff that you need. People who look for illegal immigrants. Why wouldn't we be allowed in the back room? No reason at all. Great. Now have the Benny Hill theme music in my head. So I have Benny Hill in my head because of what happened in Montreal yesterday. And I'll get to that because it's funny. Before we end out any stream, I do want to talk about that topic because that was just absurd. Absolutely. What do we have here? Another note. See, some of these notes are hilarious because they're just people's opinions. McDonald's locations are franchised and independently operated. Private businesses have the right to refuse service to law enforcement like ICE. That just goes completely against what I just said. You do not have the right to refuse service to people that you personally don't like if you're franchising a location from a greater business. You don't have the right to do that. You can be sued massively for brand damage. That is absolutely something that can happen to you. If this post damages the brand for McDonald's, that one location will be on the hook for millions of dollars. Believe me, because what do boycotts cost? Millions of damn dollars. That's what happens. ICE wouldn't be there to receive service. They would be continuing a service. That's right. To make them know their food is, yeah. What a effing shit show in Montreal. Yeah. Why don't we get into that? Because that's, oh boy, it was something else. Now, why don't we just get into the footage? So this is the footage that I got. The media did not want to share this footage. So, but I found it. It was on the internet. This is not the stuff that they wanted to show in their coverage of the event that took place. And it starts off with, I don't even come up with the technique in the chat. Chat, tell me what policing takedown technique you would call this. What would you call that? That guy is lucky to have his legs today. That guy is absolutely lucky to have his legs. Keystone Cops out of Canada. I'm from South Texas, and illegals agree off the chart because of illegals agree off the chart because of Joe Biden or whoever is running America. The sandwich. That's the sandwich technique. It's attempted murder. It is. It's attempted murder. Send them both to jail for attempted murder. The pinch maneuver. This is just outrageous. So let's get to the story because it gets worse. It gets way worse. And I'll show you more of the footage in just a second here. But so this is the story. Look how many cops they have to corner this one dirty homeless person with one of the keffiyeh things around his neck. Like, what did they think he had a bomb on or something? Like, I don't know. He had a chintzy, tiny little knife. And I swear, it's like, I thought I counted 15 cops, but then I ended up counting like 25 later. It is just unbelievable. I wonder if they rode off both vehicles. Probably did. Because once all the airbags deploy, it's pretty expensive. Clenched butt cheek maneuver. What was the one comment that I got today that was hilarious? Someone, instead of writing it in the chat or in the comments, they actually DM'd it to me. And they said, I believe it's called the "Don't worry, Alberta will pay for 2 new cars" technique. That cracked me right up. Oh, man, because how true is that? That's absolutely on point. That's absolutely on point. But so this is the story. It's someone known to the police department of Montreal, probably with mental health issues. He was wearing one knife in each hand at 7:45. I'm near the university, menacing people. AM near the university. So let's get into this story. So, with the Minneapolis one, the CBC is all about there was no, the police were totally at fault. No, the police were super at fault in this one. They even wrote about it. Woman shot and killed by ICE officers in Minneapolis. No mention of the fact that Renee Nicole Good was there to disrupt. There was there and tried to run over a cop. None of that stuff. No mention of that. He just decided to shoot her because she just happened to be cruising through the neighborhood. That's how these reports go. But the Montreal situation, man arrested, officers minorly injured after Montreal police intervention near the UQAM, they call it, UQAM University, they call it, UQAM. It's Université Québec à Montréal, which just means the University of Quebec. UOQ. Just get with it, folks. Get with it. So the story reads, forget how they wrote it out because it's just so asinine. This is hilarious. This is how they reported on this story. Have a look at this.
An intense scene downtown Montreal on Thursday morning at 7:45 a.m. There was a police operation on St. Catherine Street between Berry and Saint-Denis for a man armed with a knife. The SPVM says they didn't know what his intentions were. We're just across the UQAM University and they didn't know if he wanted to get inside. It was the morning right before the beginning of class. At one point during the intervention, 2 police cars were surrounding him and bumped into each other.
They were surrounding him and bumped into each other. I can't get over this. It's just too funny. They were surrounding him and bumped into each other. They did not see each other coming. It was just like a little bump. Like that's it. Oh my goodness.
Radio-Canada spoke with a man who witnessed and filmed part of the police intervention.
J'ai eu le réflexe de filmer dès le début parce que je me disais, bon, c'est peut-être un événement de type similaire à Minneapolis.
What does he say here? Okay, I'll try to give you the translation. My instinct was to film the beginning because I thought it could be an event like
similaire à Minneapolis.
Like what we saw in Minneapolis yesterday, so I started filming right away.
Qu'on a vu hier. Donc j'ai le
He wanted to blame the police, but instead, the state media jumped in and said, nothing to see here. The police did nothing wrong. In fact, they did a bang-up job. They were just so good at what they did.
De filmer dès le début.
In the video,
how many
you're
of them
seeing
there
many
is.
officers in front of the man. At one point, a loud noise that sounds like a gunshot, and the man goes down. Police say they used a stun gun to control him. A shot was also fired, but the suspect wasn't hit. Here's SPVM spokesperson Jean-Pierre Bravo.
That man was not injured, but following the intervention, other officers were able to control that man with that knife.
Now, mind you, that was after all of the other events that I'm about to show you, because it's just hilarious. These cops are scared. They're scared of everything. They're scared of one guy with a little tiny poker. It's unbelievable.
Knife with the taser. So from there, that man was rushed to the hospital with minor injuries. During the intervention, there were officers that were cooperating with those 2 officers, and we had 2 squad cars that collided during the intervention on the corner street of St. Catherine and Berry. In total, 3 officers had to be rushed to the hospital for minor injuries. So in
because the airbags popped off in their face is what happened. The airbags popped off in their face. They had broken glasses, bloody noses. I know what it's like. I've been there. So, not trying to crush a person, though. That's their injuries. They injured themselves. They didn't get injured by the guy. They injured themselves. And 3 cars were broken. out of this whole thing. Not 2. Just wait. You'll see. You'll see. It's coming up.
Total, there were 4 people that were transported to an hospital.
Brabant also defends the police's reaction. He says officers were treating this as a level 1 priority since it was close to UQAM and they did not know what the suspect's intentions were.
UQAM is how they say that. They say that, the UQAM or whatever. UQAM. Just say UOQ. UOQ. It's a thing. So that was the story there by... Oh, no, I don't want to see that. That was the story there by CBC. But then here we go. We got actual footage of what actually went down. And this is just hilarious. Now, you saw the first part. We'll watch that again for anyone who's just jumping in the room now. This is crazy. This is where you need the Benny Hill music. So they come up. They try to crush the guy. He narrowly gets out of the way, jumps up onto a ledge covered in snow, and then he jumps down, and then they're coming after him. He's a lunatic, by the way. Like, I don't know what the hell he's thinking, but he's running. The cops, this guy, why is he doing nothing? Then a cop car comes and rams him from behind and then crashes. Then the cop car crashes. Did you see that? So this guy right here could totally do something. He's got his, I don't know, wand or whatever the heck that is. What's he doing? Staying way the hell back. Just looking at him. I'm going to run beside you and look at you. Why aren't you complying with my dirty look of compliance? You know, like, what are you doing? So the guy's running away. And then what? Another cop car comes flying in, rams him off the ground. The guy still running. Cops still chasing him. Cop car crashes into the building as the guy ran through. It's unbelievable. And then it gets funnier. The guy almost dummies himself over, falls on the ground. Cops don't get him at that point. They're all tiptoeing because it's slippery. And just look at the sheer number of them. It's hilarious. Okay, we need some comical music for this. We just have to have it. From the top. We gotta see this. This is just too funny. Crazy guy with a knife. They've crashed their cars. They got airbags in their face. They can't do anything about it. All right, running along. Here's Billy Bat Guy. I'm staring at you. Stop. Here comes the car. Boink. Crash. Falls on the ice. And then 30 cops chase the damn guy. We're all tiptoeing on the ice, chasing after this guy. Look at them, keep coming. There's more. Look how many of them are. Look how many of them. Oh my goodness. Okay, that's enough of that. That's your tax dollars, folks. That's your tax dollars at work right there. And that's not just Quebec tax dollars. That's mostly Alberta tax dollars. Alberta, you paid for that. You paid for that to happen. It's just so crazy. Drunk driving, eh? Need more speed? Oh, it's called pros. Oh my goodness, Looney Tunes episode. We need Benny Hill's theme to do it. I can't play that. It'll get copyrighted right away. Just for Laughs show making a comeback. That's what that is. Because that's where they filmed it out in Quebec. Holy cow. I'm surprised the filmers could hold their camera still. Mine would be shaking from laughing. No kidding. Don't they wear ice spiked shoes? I don't know. I have no idea. Do they? Is anybody in the chat from Quebec? Tell me. Let us know. Do they wear the shoes with the spikes on their bottoms? Love you, Clyde. Gotta go to bed. Okay, have a good one. Oh, I'm not a fan of Solians. You mean Somalians? Oh, I'm not a fan of scammers, that's for sure. Pirates, that kind of thing. Oh my goodness. Just way too funny. I cannot believe that actually went down. That was a real event. A real thing that occurred in Montreal. just yesterday that occurred. And the funny thing is, the news media is running cover for let's just be honest. Those two cops should be charged with attempted murder. That is attempted murder. Like, they actually tried to crush a man with two cars because all of the rest of them were afraid to get in close and do their job. That means that, like, if you want to rob stores or whatever, I know I'm not advocating for this, but if you wanted to rob stuff in Quebec, I mean, it's kind of fair game at this point, at least in Montreal. What are they going to do? Try to crush you with a car? It's unreal. Absolutely unreal. So, you know what? I'm going to leave it at that point. I think that is a good note to call it for this evening. I want to thank you guys all for coming out tonight. I'm going to be heading on over to the Discord, and I'm going to spend a little bit of time over there before I head on out. I'm going to be doing a jam night. Got a couple of dads getting together to play some guitars and hang out, crush a couple of brewskis, and, it's a typical thing for dudes to do on an occasion. It's not all the time that we get to do this, but a friend of mine is hosting that this evening, so I'll be heading over to do that. But before then, head on over to the Discord. Peter from Edmonton, new mod for the channel in there, just popped that link in there. G-Meister also popping the link in there. G-Meister's been around for ages, and he's a pro moderator in YouTube and on Discord. So head on over there. Discord's a great place to hang out. There's lots of different chat rooms, but what's the point of going to Discord? The main thing is the voice and video chat rooms that you can you jump in. It's free to use. It's not, you don't have to pay anything. Just the only thing that we do is we only make the Discord links to join available on Friday nights during the live stream. It's the only time they're ever available. So if you miss that, you're missing out. So if you're here, get that link, get on over there, join in, and we'll see you guys over there. And for everybody else, we'll see you guys all Monday morning or in the shorts throughout the weekend. Everybody, have a great one. Keep on trucking.